Welcome back to Satisfactory 1.0. My name is Nilaus, and we're here with my glorious and highly aesthetic base of my main boss and modular builds. I love it. Some of you love it. Some of you hate it. And that's also okay. Thank you very much for following along. And thank you very much to everyone who's supporting on Patreon. And I guess a lot of it is to get access to these awesome blueprints. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to continue making an awesome blueprint. I will make you the best plastic and rubber build that can be built in the game. So nothing more, nothing less. Very simple. This is the best way to make plastic and rubber in the game. So we are at the late stage, and I'll basically have two types of build. We will have tech builds such as supercomputers that we see here, and we're just basically just throwing away any excess supercomputers because lines are saturated, things are fine, everything is good. We have a full storage of supercomputers, so why not just turn the rest into tickets. And yes, we have 199 tickets, plus I also have something here. There, 135. So I have enough tickets for buying anything I want. So that's the one thing, the tech buildings. The other ones is the supply buildings. And well, if we keep this running, you can see here, I activated not long ago. And what we will see eventually is that we will run out of rubber and probably also plastic, but mainly rubber, or first rubber will be what we run out of. So that's going to be a supply build today where we're going to be designing the rubber build, and this will be as effective as it can possibly be. There is no way to make it better than this. It is basically 1 oil into 3 plastic or 3 rubber, and we're going to make a 900 of each with a couple of modular designs. So let's get started on the modular designs, because that's what we are. This kind of video will be structured in the same way as I've structured the other ones, where we start by making a design, then we implement it out in the world, and then we see that it's awesome. Those are the steps. And as always, you can design along with me if you want, or you can choose to download the save games if you are a Patreon supporter. So thank you for that support. Good, we're going to start with a 5x5, because what we need to do is we need to first look at the actual stuff we want to build. So if we look at, let's start with the refinery. Here, we're going to be using a lot of alternate recipes. We're going to use recycled plastic, that's this one. And we're going to be using recycled rubber, that's this one. And the reason why they're so good is because it takes 30 plastic and turn it into 60 rubber at the cost of some fuel, which is like, yeah, fuel is expensive, but it's not actually expensive once you have the diluted fuel, because then it's 50 heavy rubber or 50 heavy oil residue plus a dash of water, a lot of water, and that gets a lot of fuel. So that's pretty damn efficient. And then we just need to make the heavy oil residue, which we get there. And then we get 40 of that plus a little spattering, whatever. So a dash of heavy oil residue. So we can actually do the heavy oil residue to either make it into rubber, 40 to 2. No, sorry, 40 to 20. Or we can do this one, which is 60 to 20. So we're going to do that one. So this is basically what we want to build. And yeah, so here I'm only putting 20 out, and this one is using 40. So I'm actually going to say for this design, for 2 reasons, I'm going to throw this out of the blueprint. So this one is not going to be part of our modular design. It's going to be part of a second, a different time module. So I need to get these 4 things in. The reason why I want to get those 4 things in and nothing more is because, well, I only have a 5x5 and I don't have an option of getting a 6x6. So I do have a little bit of constraint here in terms of how much space I have available. Do you think that's a good place? I think I want to move it a little bit further back. Yeah, something like this is probably fine. It's hard to see. I think I'll do it like this. Yeah. And then we need this here. And you can kind of see the problem. Let's see, let's make it on the side. That is as close as it can be to the edge, yes. And then I'm gonna squeeze another one in here. There we go, that's another squeezed in here. Good, and then I can see that over here, I can't make 2 in this room. So it's gonna be constrained no matter what we do. So no matter what, I can't fit in. Well, technically I can fit in, but then I don't have room for inputs and outputs. So this is kind of what we're going to do. We're going to be having these 2, which will be the recycled rubber and plastic. We'll have a blender for the diluted fuel, and we'll have the heavy oil residue coming out here. Let's look at ratios, because that's kind of difficult. We're going to be starting with this recipe because then it's a round 30. We want to build 5 modules, so we take 150 crude oil inbound, and that's going to be our baseline. So basically the only thing we need inbound is crude oil and water for this build. And then what we'll get out is plastic and rubber. Crude oil and water. Yes, okay. So we get 40 here, and we're going to ignore this because we'll throw it away. Basically, we can consider this, instead of saying this is 20 polymer resin, we can kind of keep a mental note and say 20 polymer resin is actually 10 rubber. So we can know that we have 10 rubber to work with here. Then this part, well, we don't have 50, so I'm going to have to turn this down to 80. That was the easy part, because now I have this. If I produce 30, if I somehow magically get 30 plastic, then I can make 60 rubber. And if I have 60 rubber, I can take 30 of those and put them in here to make 60 plastic. And then I can take the 60 plastic and go back to the other one. So that's cool. That's a schedule here. But I can also do it this way, where I take the 60 rubber we get, put it in here, and then I get 120 plastic out, whereby I take 30 in here, and that goes to recycle. So that is basically the recycler. However, remember what I said? I also have to figure in that I have 10 here, and the other part is that this is consuming 30 fuel plus 60 fuel, which is 90 fuel, and I only have 80. So I need to take those 10 rubber in here so that I reduce the fuel consumption to 80 among the two of them, and there is a balance so that all the rubber I produce will be consumed in the plastic build. Yeah, so that is that's a little bit tricky, and after much deliberation, there is a magical number. That's a magical number, and over on that one, this is going to be 46.6667 there. Good. So what does that mean? Now we can look at these numbers here. I make, let's see, I take 23 plastic inbound and 23 fuel inbound, and then I make 46 rubber. 46 rubber plus the 10 from down here gives me 56 rubber. This one is consuming 56 rubber, so there's a perfect balance. I then also need 56 fuel. 56 fuel plus 23 fuel, there's 80 fuel. So this is consuming exactly 80. I produce 113.3. And of that, I consume the 23 back here. That means there is a residual. If I summarize all of this together with that one down here, I now have 30 crude oil inbound gets converted, and then I have 90 plastic out. Awesome. I can do the same thing with rubber, but the recipe is slightly different. So remember these numbers if you want to build them yourself. 23.33 and 56.66. Actually, it's those numbers down here, 188% and 77%. If I wanted to do the other way, where I then take this one and say, well, this one is now using recycled plastic and this one is using the recycled rubber. So now I need it outbound. Then the recipes need to be a little bit different, because in this case, I have some of the rubber, and therefore the part I want in here is going to be outputting here 53.3 there. That means I need 26 rubber, and I am producing 53. So I have to set this one as 106.6667 there. That is good. And that means you can then say, now we're using all the plastic and we're producing 106 rubber. 106 rubber. I am using the 26 of it, which leaves a residual of 80 rubber plus the 10 I get from here, which means, again, I'm doing exactly the same recipe, taking 30 crude oil in and making 90 rubber out. So there's a slight difference on these numbers, but the end result is the same. So all we need to do now is hook this on up. It goes in from crude oil, goes in here. This one will be the crude oil in here. The polymer resin has to go out. And then from here, I need to get it into that location. And then I need the water inbound as well. And I need out here. This is going to be a little bit tricky because it's a diluted fuel. So the fuel has to be out here. Let's see how close we can make it to the edge. that one. And do we have room for this one here? I think we do. And like that. No clipping, kissing, but not clipping. Good. Now down here, the biggest challenge of this is doing the recycling between these two. And therefore, let's do the plastic one first. That means this one has to be recycled rubber. Do we remember the numbers? 23.33? Was that correct? No, it was not. It's 2 times that. There, because it was inbound 23. There we go. That one. There, that looks better. And the other one is the residual plastic, and that needs 2 of these. At this point, I'm not really afraid of using these for anything. What was this? 188.88889, right? Was that it? Yes, it was. Good. So those now what do we need first? First, we need to do, we're just going to be doing the difficult one. Here. That goes down. And that goes down. So from this location, this plastic will be first priorities to go back into that one. That's on the other side. And then secondarily going into the other, the completed belt. So let's see, this is, we'll always have the completed belt right here. This will be the final belt outbound. And we get this outbound here. So what is it we want to do? This one comes in or comes out. And that needs to be built into a splitter, but it has to be built into a smart splitter. So we can build it maybe like that. Now we're going to build the principle, and then after that we're going to be seeing if there's some things that make more sense. So I'm going to be getting this back onto the bus, or the branch belt. 1, 2. And also back to the bus eventually. And that goes in. Alright, so that now goes back on this bus. And then I'll get the other part here. This will be overflow, because that's got back to the bus. That's only when I have enough. I will be sending none of it forward, and I'll send any over to this side. So this is the plastic coming in. And we're going to be doing something along the lines of this. So what now happens, plastic comes in, it'll primarily go over here to fill up into the rubber build. Only when that is full will it send the rest out onto the bus. Excellent. That's good. That's exactly what we want. Yeah, I'm just going to make that one so we don't accidentally build something else on that line. So we now have the other one, which is just going to be here. This is the rubber build. Rubber outbound. Rubber just needs to be 1, 2. This just needs to go back into this one. So all I need is, a recycler, or just a 1, 2, because I know that all of my rubber will go from here to here. I think I need to build it from here so that they are overlapping. Yes. Right. So this works perfectly once it's started, but it won't work perfectly until it starts. And since I don't have room for this, that goes back on the start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the residue here, resin. I'm going to send it that way, down there somewhere. And then I'm going to make a separate module that just converts it into rubber. And then I'm going to send the rubber back. And it's going to come in on this line, for example. Or this line. I don't know. We'll just say it here for now. Good. And that will sort of be a pass-through. And that will be used for kickstarting it. So this one will have rubber, which means it has to go into the top belt. Because when it starts up, I don't have any plastic to start this one, and I don't have any rubber to start this one, so it can't start. But I do have some resin, so if I send the resin, which will produce immediately, go back, convert it into rubber, the rubber comes in here, then it's going to be split in and be brought back on this line. So let's do that. And that means I need a merger. There, that's a merger. That one. And the lower one out. And then I'm going to do a splitter. Here. Oh, I can't do that way. As much as I'd like to, then I have to do a ramp instead because it's only one level down. So we got the rubber coming in here. It will be sent out to kickstart this build. And there. So it'll send out to be kickstarting it, and then once it kickstarts, the whole thing will be self-sufficient, and then the rubber on the residual rubber is coming in and then be spread out. So with that, we just need to hook up the last things, the oil, the water, and the residual. There we go. That is the module. I put the tags, I put the power, I put everything, and it hopefully works. Now I marked also indicator here, so it's easier for you to remember, like, what is this belt again? So this is the rubber from resin. This is the plastic coming out at 90. There's water coming in at 80. And then it's the resin here, and I'm moving it backwards. So that's so this will be the front. This is where we're going to be putting into trains or drones or belts or whatever, but that's where we get it. And then we have, of course, the oil, but I'm only going to get 30 oil into this one for each of these. And I kind of had to do like little kink, and no kink shaming. But yeah, that's kind of how it had to be. I guess like there are options for sort of moving things around, but this seems to work just fine. Right, so this is ready to go. If I want to do the same thing for rubber, then it's basically the same build. It's mainly the signs here that change, and then also the recipes. So that's also done. The only thing remaining is that, one thing we have to consider. I want to make 5 modules on one row. 5 modules is 150 oil. That's really not a lot. Huh, that's actually really not a lot. Huh. Yeah, so, and then that will be 5 times 90. That's 450. 450 oil, 450 plastic from 5 modules, and I want 2 of those modules for plastic and 2 modules for rubber. That means we're actually only going to be using 600 oil. That's crazy that we're only using 1 for 900 of each. That's crazy. Anyway, then I actually have prepared too much oil, but that's a that's a luxury problem. So this will be ready to go, but what we need to consider is, if we look at this, it is also 80 times, that's the water times 5, so it's 400 water we need. But we also need to have, if we have 5 modules and each of them is producing 20 resin, then we have to use water for that resin conversion as well, and it's an even number. So we're going to be making 100 resin, and that means we also need 100 more water, but that means we're going to be using a total of 500 water, which is still less than 1 pipe, so it's good. So we keep the whole thing below 1 pipe this way, and then it's good. Cool. Let's go out and find some place where I have prepared it. You can see out there, someone has prepared a beautiful, aesthetically pleasing, flat floating platform. Woohoo! Exciting stuff, isn't it? So I prepared this platform. This platform is 6 modules long, I think, so that I can actually build all this. I'm going to start by making a module. And now I actually didn't even show you how to make this module because it's so simple that it really doesn't need to be there, but it's the residual one. And we'll just walk through it, how it works. And let me just place it somewhere along the right lines here. That nudge feature is really nice when working with big blueprints. There we go. All right, so this is what we're going to be starting with. Maybe just the infrastructure first. I am getting 4 pipes of water coming in, each one with 600. I know I need only 500, but hey, why not fill it up with 600 because water is weird. Then I have a single location here that can provide 600, goes up here. I also have another oil location right there, which means I could just, if I wanted to, bling. Really? Why did you not pling that one? Never mind. It is an oil deposit. Oh, because I have tapped it and now I untapped it. Anyway, that's another oil deposit that we can take. So we can basically just double this if we want to. Like crazy how that works. But yep, it's pretty efficient. So this belt here is 600, pipe 600, and it splits into 1, 2, 3, 4 times 150. This here is taking, they're all scaled down so that they work like this. If you choose to build it bigger than I have built it, then You can do that with more than 5 of the modules. You can build it bigger. Then you're going to have to sort of run into some pipe issues and belt issues that you can solve. And then also this one has to be scaled up or build 2 of those modules. That's totally up to you. I was considering making it like much bigger, but I feel that 150 is nice because then I can have 4 parallel builds. And yes, I really like to make modular things. So we're going to be doing recycled plastic here. And I want to make sure that it's facing towards me. And there. And I'm going to smash it down. And the next one, I am also just checking. Smashing down, that's 2. And then we're going to be running out of resources. 5 more missing. Are we? No, not missing really. Not really missing. There, it's 3. It's always going to be the crystals that run out first. 4. And finally 5. Isn't that amazing how easy it is? That's so crazy. Look at that. We spent a little bit of time designing and now we just stamp down and that's 450 plastic. Well, you know, there's a little bit of work we have to do. And that is the usual work. I'm just going to be doing it for once. For one of them, I need to make sure that we have the pipes. There are 2 pipes to manage. That is the oil pipe and that is the water pipe. There are a number of belts to manage as well. There's the resin. There's the resin. There is the rubber that's passing through. And then there is the plastic coming out. Then the last thing is the power there. So that needs to be done for all of them. Okay, so we're ready to hook up the last parts here and here. And since this one has to go up, then I actually am pretty sure that I need pumps here. I think it's just good practice to build pumps here. Just to make sure that they can get up there. And then those will go into that location. This will go to that location. And then I will just hook it up. And then when I do this, the whole damn thing should just work. It's gonna take a little bit of time before it works. Let's see. Everything turns yellow. So we need to start with the first one. This one. Is it getting any crude oil? No, it's not. Why not? Is there a problem? Anyway, we can just do over here. We can just do the coloring first while we wait for the pipe segments to fill up with the liquids. This one is filled up. Yes. This one's filled up. Yes. This one is kind of filling up. It's not really getting pressured in. That's really weird. I think. Why no pressure? There's tons of pressure here. And it's also going up. Okay, good. So now it should also go up here. Yeah? Okay, now it's going up. And there we go. So this is going in and completing. We see the resin is coming out here. And going back. This one is getting a little bit of resin. Yes, it is. And it's getting some water. Then our fuel here is getting water. It's a little slow. Weird. Should not be a problem with water though. Like, why is the water so slow? I think it's just a matter of just getting it in here. Yeah, I mean, it is working. So there we go, finally. Right, so it makes the fuel. Fuel comes out here. And no plastic is coming in. A little bit of rubber is coming in. This rubber is coming from... perfect timing. This rubber is coming from the residual. So the residual here is working. It goes out. And I'd like to see some residual rubber coming in. Come on, residual rubber, you can do it. There we go. Some of it goes in here, some of it goes in here. And that helps start up this one, which will now work. And then it goes over to the plastic. And the plastic here will fill up. Actually, now that there's 12 here, that means that it will not slow down. It will now work continuously. The rubber goes over. And then it needs to fill up the rubber all the way to 200 in here and fill up the belt here. Only when that is done will it actually start sending any plastic or any damn, is this the... Oh, any plastic. Yeah, okay. So this one rubber has to fill up, then the plastic oh, sorry, this is what I mean. The plastic has to fill up this one. And then it has to fill up the belt with plastic. And only then will it get over to this where are you? That smart splitter. Then it will start overflowing. So nothing is coming out now. And that should hopefully also be the case. The last ones will take a little bit longer to start because they will be sort of starving for the residual rubber. And we can then take the belt out here. There's a little bit of stuff waiting on this belt, which is eventually it'll just fill up and then it'll be just done. But we can now do box of goodies, and I'm gonna take that box in here. So this will be our plastic box eventually, and it's gonna take a little bit of time before it actually gets started. Once this one gets its first one running, it's so tempting to put it in, but I'm not gonna do that. I want to see that it actually starts up itself. This one is so close to getting the first start. It's just a matter of getting the first one. There we go. So now it got the first one started. As soon as it gets the first one started, it will feed itself. There. Then it feeds itself over here. We see the plastic coming in from the internal recycling. There we go, inside the module. And then that rubber will now make sure that this gets started up, and then it's working. Then it's only the last module that's waiting. Cool. So now I can make another plastic module. I can then make a rubber module, and I can make another rubber module. And then we'll just have a look. I'll make another plastic, and then we'll see how the rubber works when that starts up. Here we are, beautiful build, right? And that should be 900 rubber and 900 plastic. The plastic is enabled, but we have not enabled the rubber build. So we are, but I made it. I think I've done everything. I've connected the pipes, I've connected the belts, I've connected the power poles. The only thing I haven't done is connect the overall power pole here from the start. And as I, hopefully, oh yeah, oops. Here, power pole to power line, and this one to the power line. There we go. And then we see everything is now turned on. Let's have a look at power. Can we even see that it's enabled? No, not really. We still have, well, we're up to consuming 13,000 megawatt. That's nice. It's a decent amount, but there's still a little bit of a headroom here. So let's see, you're working, you're producing some resin. The resin is coming back as rubber. We're producing some fuel, that's good. The fuel will go in here. The rubber will not get in here, because what the difference is for this one is that now I'm getting the rubber in and I'm putting it in on the opposite belt. Previously it was setting up on the upper belt, but now it's on the lower belt. That's the difference between those two designs. It comes in here and then it starts constructing the plastic. This is the sort of the plastic that needs to go into this location, so it is all good. Let's see, this one is working. There, it starts with some plastic. Does it go back in here? We should see some plastic come in. Yes, indeed. So now I have enough for 2 batches of plastic. That should be enough, because as this goes out, then the rubber fills up. Yeah, it's actually working already. And we get another batch of plastic, and this plastic should be coming in. No, not quite. It's not coming in before the other one gets stalled out, but now it probably will. It will slowly stabilize, and we can start seeing them fill up. Also the other side. So there you have it. Just a single oil deposit out here, a pure oil deposit. We get some water inbound, and then suddenly we have 900 plastic, 900 rubber. The only thing we have to answer now is, how do we get it back to the bus? And that is definitely something we have to answer in the next episode. We of course have belts, trains, drones as options. I'm going to be showing you how to build a proper drone network, and whether we could bring it in with drones or not, because honestly this line out here is plastic and rubber already, so I could just grab it over there and then we'd be done. And I think I'm actually going to do that, but we next time we want to go into how to do long range logistics with drones, because drones are easy to set up incorrectly, and once you set them up correctly, they're actually quite good. Okay, they're still derpy, but they're quite good. So anyway, if you want to get a hold of these beautiful blueprints, there are a total of 3 of them today. And that is the residual rubber. That's the first module that we take at the beginning. Then there's recycled plastic or recycled rubber. Those are the 2 builds. And I really appreciate the 5x5 designs we have here. The fact that they've enabled bigger blueprints is really nice, because stuff like blenders and refineries are just too big to put in a 4x4. So really nice that we get the 5x5, and 6x6 is going to be nice as well when we get even bigger things in the next year. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you everyone who's supporting on Patreon. Now you get access to the best plastic and rubber build that exists in the game, so you can stamp it down. And whether you may want to make open factories on space platforms like this, or you want to make it into integrated factories, that is up to you, but I gave you the tools to make an effective factory. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, take care, and as always, stay effective.